Peace, AGG Nation. This is AGG, your average gun guy. And today, guys, we are going to be reviewing the Armasight 640 Contractor Thermoscope. Take a look at it. Full review coming in just a second. All right, AGG Nation. As promised, I've got Steve Lemonov with us here from Armasight to discuss their flagship thermal, the Contractor 640. So, Steve, thanks for being with us today, man.
Hey, Sean, thanks so much for having me on your program. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your community and your audience. I look forward to engaging with everyone. If they have questions post-show, happy to answer and provide additional information. But the Contractor and the rest of our thermal product line is a new offering that we introduced last year, and we keep building on it and improving on it. We are earmarked to have another firmware release in the next several weeks to improve the image quality even more so on the Contractor series of scopes. You've had a chance to play with it, and I know you've enjoyed the scope, and you've done some shooting with it. The scope has a lot of interesting, cool features. Very comfortable control knobs, easy to use while you're outside with gloves. Very intuitive control menu. Good battery life. It has multiple color palettes, multiple reticles. The quick detach mount from Kinetic is really a class of its own. Really, very easy to mount on a Picatinny rail on a
super easy.
AR. Super easy. It's awesome. I love it. I haven't actually seen this type of mount before I joined Armasight. I've been with Armasight for about a year now. I was with another night vision brand before for a long time. I've been in this space for almost 20 years doing night vision and thermal products. So a lot of experience in this space. And, if you have any specific questions, I'd love to answer your questions and engage, with some spirited conversation.
Absolutely. Well, guys, just like he said, make sure you drop some comments, those questions down in the comment section. But Steve, I do have a question for you. What exactly is thermal? Like, a lot of people get it confused. Even myself, I was definitely one of those confused people at first, thinking that it was night vision and thermal like the same thing. Can you explain that to us?
Sure, absolutely. I'll try not to be using a lot of scientific terminology because I think it confuses people even more so. Night vision and thermal are very different technologies in terms of the type of light that they pick up. So, for example, like a remote control, right, from a TV, a camera, uses IR light or a spectrum of about 750 to about 950 nanometers, right? So night vision operates in on that wave spectrum. Thermal works on several spectrums. There's 3 different types of thermal out there. In the commercial space and typically in the military space, the predominant technology that is used for thermal is LWIR, or long wave infrared. It's a type of infrared radiation, not radiation, or it's like thermomagnetic radiation that every object emits, right? So a person has body temperature about 98.6 degrees. It's the average typical temperature. But a table, a stand like this, a chair also emits an IR signature. So you can tell, depending on the ambient temperature in the environment you're in, objects by using this technology. Now there's LWIR, there's MWIR, and there's SWIR. So MWIR is mid-wave infrared, and SWIR is short-wave infrared. So they're different light spectrums, but predominantly thermal today, what you see on all the manufacturers out there in the space, use microbolometers, which are which are basically wafers. They're how should I put it? Silicon wafers, like you see in computers like Intel, AMD. They use silicon wafers for their microprocessors. They put little schematics in there to run PCs and computers. Well, thermal uses that material to be able to absorb the thermomagnetic radiation and the vibrations on a array, or like say a core, start vibrating, and depending on the vibrations and what it picks up, produces a image. And it's a reproduction. Basically, it scans the area and produces a representation in a what we would call it a thermal image. So you would see the gradients of temperature. So what thermal is gradients of different temperatures and hot objects like people or animals, as they produce more heat than the ambient environment, will show up a lot better with more kind of definition, and are much more easily detected than, let's say, a tree, a rock, something that has a temperature level very similar to the ambient environment, right? So if you're hunting at night and it's cold out there, the trees will still retain some of that heat from being in the sun all day, and they'll show up a little bit better than, let's say, the brush or the grass or some other elements in an environment. So I hope I didn't confuse you or the audience.
No, that's good.
But
I mean,
that's really how thermal works.
concise.
It's picking up that heat signature, that heat that everything kind of emits, and it uses a microbolometer to pick up that heat and reproduce that image on an, let's say, a high definition small micro screen that you would see, let's say, in a digital camera, or like your phones have, OLED screens. They're much bigger. What's in here is like, probably you'd be shocked how small they are. They're like less than an inch by inch. It's like probably half an inch by half an inch inside, with high resolution, with lots of pixels and a high resolution screen that produces a high quality image of the reproduction of what the sensor sees basically in the environment.
Indeed, guys, this thing is one thing I could tell you right away when I first got my hands on it. I could tell that it was built extremely sturdy. I mean, built like a tank. Like it felt very solid. I didn't feel like I could, ding it.
But it's not heavy, right? So I'm glad you mentioned it. It's great construction. It's built for the shooter, the hunter, the professional that actually goes out in the field and uses their equipment. And you're not afraid to bump it. Let's say if you have it on your firearm, it actually is recoil rated up to 50 cal. And, if you drop it, if your gun falls, if you bump it on something, you could have peace of mind that the unit will still function, still work well, and will have you engaging your targets, hunting, shooting, as well as it, before the bump. It's one of those products that's just very built solidly and produces great results. One of the features I really enjoy is picture in picture in here, where instead of having the entire screen zoom in, you could have the wide field of view on the optical magnification, and as you turn on the picture in picture, you get a actually you can adjust, not only have it in the center, but you could have it either on the right side or left side of the screen, and you could have on the looking at the target magnified so much more so you could see the target better, and still have the ability to see the full scene with the wide field of view on the native optical magnification.
Yeah, this thing is awesome.
Which color palette is your favorite? I know you've had a little bit of time with it, and everybody has their own preference. Do you have a preference in terms of the color palette that you like?
I like the I don't know. I go back and forth. I like the white. I like the white. Sometimes I like the I like the real colorful one.
Sure.
What's that one called?
Um, uh, Typically everybody calls it predator mode, but
Yep,
it's like
it's like the predator
it's
mode.
like
That's the best way to
rainbow.
put it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
it's
best way to put
rainbow.
it.
I really like the target mode where you have, let's say, either white hot or
Mhm.
sepia, and you activate enhanced modes, and you have the target, the heat overlay on the object where the object is hotter. You could see like these red elements pop up to kind of give you an alert
Oh
that
man, I'm gonna
there's
have to
something
mess with
hot.
it. I'm gonna have to mess around with it and pull up, get that one, get that. That sounds nice.
Yeah, it's really cool because as you're scanning, it'll give you like indications where to pay attention more, so where you have where the device picks up heat signatures, concentrated heat signatures, much more so in a specific area. So let's say if you're in a kind of a brushed area and you have a
Mhm.
hog running around, it'll give you that bright orange spot,
Mhm.
and give you an indication where that hog is, a lot faster than just having it in a standard mode like white hot or black hot, because sometimes it's hard to discern between the contrasts of the different
Mhm.
scales, the gray scale, especially depending on the environment. I really want to kind of address environment, which is a very important element for thermal, right? Because people think that thermal is a superpower, which it is. Don't get me wrong; it's an awesome technology, but
Mhm.
certain environmental factors has kind of ability to degrade the image a little bit. Like humidity
Yep.
has a kind of a bad effect on all thermal devices out there. Sometimes when you're operating in very arid, very hot environments, like a desert environment, things start to kind of blend in because the ambient temperature is so hot and it's very
Mhm.
even. There's things that are commonly known as like false positives. Let's say if you're uh, hunting or shooting in a kind of a desert environment and you have rocks, or laying around in the being heated up in the desert sun all day long, they will seem like targets, especially if they're farther away, because, they retain that heat that they have acquired throughout the day. And if you're, let's say, start, kind of shooting in a kind of dawn or dusk, I mean, not dawn, dusk hours, and you'll see, if you're doing predator hunting, say Arizona or New Mexico, and you might
Mhm.
think it's a coyote, but it's actually a rock because it's been there all day in the sun and it's emitting that heat that is kind of absorbed throughout the day. So false positives like that, you have to kind of as you use thermal, you get to learn these types of tricks and elements, because if something's not moving for a while, it's not an actual target. Animals typically don't just stay there in one spot without any kind of movement, unless they're probably sleeping. But um,
Mhm.
it's just one of the examples. Dew point, like if there's a lot of moisture in the environment, sometimes there's like reflective things that pop up and degrade the image. The cool thing about thermal, and one of the great advantages, besides the fantastic light foliage through light fog. So let's say if it's a kind of foggy evening or foggy morning,
Mhm.
with thermal, you can see the target. Whereas like with the traditional glass scopes or even night vision, you won't be able to see it. Like if you're
Mhm.
comparing, let's say, to a traditional night vision with, or even digital night vision, you're using an infrared illuminator, or there's, maybe a moon or some kind of ambient light in the area.
Mhm.
With fog around, you'll see a lot of looming, a lot of reflection from the fog droplets, from the water droplets, and it'll impede your visual acuity so much so that you won't have the capability of seeing, long ranges, or being able to really identify targets or elements as well,
Mhm.
able to see
Got it.
through light fog.
Indeed, indeed. That is awesome. And that's super important. I did notice that as well. While I was reading about it. I hadn't got the chance to try it in the fog opportunity. I mean, there's so much I want to try with this scope since I've got my hands on it. But one thing that I can tell you guys is super awesome is the ability to record, and it has the ability to live stream. So you could like literally like stream. It's got Bluetooth capabilities. I mean, it's got literally everything that you need to go out there, have fun. Especially when you're hunting, you want to capture that moment. You don't want to necessarily have to stop or move. You want to be able to have that capability. It can capture, it can record, it can take pictures. It's amazing, guys. So I need you to go out there.
It's a brave new world nowadays. You can actually record your hunts and and don't have to
Exactly.
kind of exaggerate what you were hunting or what you got. You could bring the live action back home and share with friends on social media and YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. So yeah, digital technology is fantastic. It brings a lot of capabilities to the an old tradition of hunting and shooting, and it gives a lot more capabilities to the modern shooter and hunter where those opportunities weren't there before. And it's actually it's a great training tool as well. Let's say if you have a young shooter and hunter, and you're trying to guide them how to shoot and hold over, or how to squeeze the trigger correctly. Breathing is very important. We all know that in shooting. And when you're recording, or let's say if you're streaming via Wi-Fi to your smart device, and you're seeing how that young shooter or inexperienced shooter is looking at the target, if they're pulling, how they're grouping, you could actually educate them and give them pointers and help them become a better shooter. And if you're kind of doing a training before you go on a hunt, shot placements on an animal to take the animal ethically and cleanly so the animal doesn't suffer. Those are all important elements of the shooting sports. And by practicing and doing these things, we could all improve and learn something about the shooting sports.
100%, 100%. Well, Steve, I'm not going to hold you too much longer, brother. This has been an amazing informational opportunity for my audience to learn more about thermals, and in particular, the Armasight 640, guys. And as you see scroll on the bottom of that screen, you guys see the discount code AGG10. So I want to make sure that you use the discount link that I've got here in the description to head over, grab that Contractor 640, add it to your arsenal, go out, train with it, have fun. I promise you, grab this thermal, you won't need another one. So, Steve, before I get you out of here, brother, this is the part of the show that we call the rapid fire session. This is where I ask you a question and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Let's go. All right. First gun owned.
Remington 870.
Red dot or iron sights?
Red dot.
Striker fire or hammer fire?
Striker fire.
AK or AR?
AR.
Last gun purchased?
Kimber CDP2 custom shop.
Nice. Delta Force or Navy SEALs?
Delta Force.
Indoor range or outdoor range?
Indoor range.
Steve, if you could get your hands on any gun, what would it be?
You'd laugh, but I've always loved the Die Hard series, and I've always wanted the Steyr AUG. It's one of those classic guns that I've always wanted, but I can't have it here where I live. Yeah.
All right, man. So Steve, man, what's on the horizon for Armasight? What can the folks out here look forward to?
Well, we introduced a few products at SHOT Show. I'm not sure if you were at SHOT Show. We didn't even talk about SHOT Show.
I didn't make it this year.
It was such a great show. So busy. Very exciting show. A lot of people at the show. We introduced two products: the Collector, which is the smaller version of our thermal weapon sight, the Contractor. It's more compact. It's about the same size as the Sidekick here, which is a thermal monocular. And we also introduced the Jockey, which is a thermal clip-on, which you can attach in front of a traditional day scope and convert that into thermal vision, basically. So it's very exciting. We're going to have those products available late spring, and look for them on Armasight.com and your local retailers, online or in brick and mortar stores. But we're very excited. We have a lot of great products on our roadmap, and we'll continue to produce great products designed and assembled and manufactured here in the U.S. and continue to support our local communities, local jobs, and bring great technology and products to the marketplace.
Man, I love it, brother. Love it. Local company, bringing local jobs to the economy. What else can you ask for, guys? Great, solid product. Go out there and get your hands on one, guys. I'm telling you, it is super solid. It is a different shooting experience. It's like once you go thermal, you'll never go back.
That's for sure.
Hey, Steve, man, I really appreciate you being here with our audience and sharing all this great information. Is there any final words you want to share with us before I get you out of here?
No, I appreciate you, Sean. Thank you again for having me on your program. I appreciate your audience. Hopefully you'll have me back for other segments, and we'll talk about other products, maybe touch upon some night vision devices. Again, I look forward to working with you and engaging with your community. And if they have any questions, feel free to shoot them to me, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Absolutely, guys. Like we said, drop those comments down in the comment section. We'll make sure we get those over to Steve and the guys at Armasight and get them answered for you. And guys, be looking forward to more videos about the Contractor 640 coming very, very soon from this channel and in the future. So without any further ado, guys, I want to thank you for being with us here today. Remember, stay safe, stay training, and stay free. Peace.